Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn, and this is the December reading for Capricorn Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mars. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for post notifications. So this month I'm going to be working with the Sibyl's Oracle deck by Tiana Lee McQuiller. And this oracle deck is a little bit different than traditional oracle decks or even tarot in the way that it's structured and designed, but it's actually really interesting, and I thought it would be interesting to play with and share the wisdom with you guys this month, especially since it's the end of the year, and it's just really a deck that allows for you to kind of like reflect and really do some inner working to prepare yourself for the following year and just to get an understanding of where you're at the end of this year. The deck, the way that the deck is structured, it calls for 4 cards, right? And so the first is for the core issue. The second is for the projection, which is basically just saying what is not allowing you to see what the core issue is, like what is blocking you and what's in your way. And also there are 2 action cards, which is the blue card is for cool action, which is really about inner understanding and inner work that needs to happen, before the hot action, which is like what the actual physical work needs to be. So let's pull these cards. I will say that when I shuffle, however many cards come out for a particular spot in the spread, I take them. And so these 2 cards that came out, it's the opposition card and the mysteries card. And so with these 2 cards here, it does appear to be that there is some sort of defensiveness on your part this month, Capricorn. You might be feeling a little bit defensive, and you might not know why, right? I feel like you might be getting some intuitive nudges about people in your life that you feel are I don't want to say necessarily taking advantage of you, but you're feeling a little bit defensive towards them because you don't like their actions towards you, right? This might be something that you're kind of like turning your back on it, right? You know it to be true, but you're not necessarily sharing it with the other person or the individuals involved. But I think to some degree that they might be aware of it because of the shift in your energy towards them. And that can be you, but it can also be them. Like your energy could be shifting towards them because there is some sort of perceived slight in your mind. I wanted to read to you what it actually says. So in the opposition card, it says, the lion represents pride and the spears represent an external threat. All cats are territorial, but the lion will go to any lengths to protect its space, whether the threat is real or only imagined. In this particular reading with these cards coming out, I don't feel like the threat is necessarily imagined. I do kind of feel like there is a sort of supernatural element to the threat being represented by the mysteries. And so even though you might not fully be aware of what the threat is, you do feel that there is a threat present. But I'll continue reading. If a person, place, or thing or idea is rubbing you the wrong way, I strongly advise you to dig deeper to try to discover what the antagonistic feelings are really about. This is especially true if nothing has been done directly to you. What does that person, place, or thing really represent in your mind? Why does how a person looks, perceives the world, communicate, or behaves irritate you so much if what they do has absolutely nothing or no effect whatsoever on your life? The sooner you realize your antagonistic feelings have nothing to do with them, but everything to do with you, the sooner you will either change your mind or have no reaction at all. If the opposition you're experiencing is with someone who has done something directly to you and you can't forgive them, then ask yourself why they are still in your life. If you are too emotionally dependent to let them go, then be aware that you are making a conscious decision to continue hurting. If the antagonist is someone whom you can cut off or keep your distance from, then it may be time for a forthright discussion. There are times when we build up resentments against others without ever giving them the opportunity to make things right. If you allow your feelings to amass to a breaking point rather than saying something because you expect others to just get it, that isn't fair, especially if your gripe is about someone's selfishness or insensitive behavior. Why? Because if they got it, they wouldn't have been selfish or insensitive in the first place. But before you wag your finger at anyone else, make sure that you are aware of how you may be contributing to the continuation of the problem so as to prevent overemphasizing someone else's deficiencies while conveniently ignoring your own. When you get this card in the reading, you should stop and consider the following questions. How does opposition affect the quality of your life? Are you blaming others for your misfortune, poverty, or some other loss? Do you subconsciously want to be antagonized, get a thrill from drama, or feel a sense of validation, importance, being the receiver of antagonistic feelings directed at you? Is there a part of you that feels comfortable being the victim or at least being perceived as such by others? Has a reasonable compromise or middle ground been proposed already that you're stubbornly refusing? What are the most likely consequences if you continue to fight? Why do you feel stuck if you're free to move forward? And how do the weaknesses factor into the equation? How do your weaknesses factor into the equation? Do you repeat the same negative behavior, thereby creating opposition time and time again? And have you faced your dark side? Have you looked at your shadow? There is nothing that must remain unknown to us, even if it is currently inexplicable. Somehow, we know that there is always more to learn, which ultimately leads to experimentation and eventually the revelation of previously inconceivable truths. We also know that what was once common knowledge in the past may revert back into the category of mystery again until the cycle toward rediscovery begins anew. Contemporary scientists have proclaimed that the universe consists of dark matter, but there is, as of yet, no unanimous decision about what it is or how it works. It is for the time being a great mystery to them. It may not be in our lifetime, but the qualities of dark matter will one day be easily explainable once someone receives a flash of inspiration that leads them to the answer. It is easy to forget that everything we use and have learned to cultivate had its origin in someone's aha moment, which shed light on paths we didn't believe could possibly exist. If there is something that you are unclear about, the first step to realizing the answer is to stop believing in the unknowable as an intrinsic fact. Loyalty to the perception of permanence creates stagnation. It is the mother of desperation and hopelessness. The second step to clarification is to stop believing that you can't be the vehicle for the solution. If you feel the light can only come through someone else, then it is not the right time for you to receive the answers you're seeking. The reason being that even if you were gifted with an amazing insight that can change your life or the lives of others for the better, you would probably deny its validity and end up back where you started, but with the additional burden of wondering if you were correct. However, if you really want to know, believe that it is absolutely possible for you to know. It is possible for you to know, and you're ready to receive the answer. Then the third step is to hold the question consistently in your heart and wait. So you're going to ask Spirit the question that you want the answer to, and wait and allow Spirit to reveal the answer to you. If you are resisting knowing what the answer is, and if you feel like you don't want to know what the answer is, and you continue to have like a nagging question that just won't go away, and that if answered would allow you to move more peaceable through life, then why not ask the question, right? Are you afraid to ask what you want to know because you think it's impossible to know? Or are you afraid of what the answer might be? Are you relying on other people outside of yourself or experts to give you an answer that you kind of know to yourself. So this is really also about tapping into your intuition and being able to kind of notice threats that are around you, or like not ignore the threats because you're afraid of the way that they come in. I mean, sometimes we get information in our lives about people, about places, about things that we really don't want to know. And even though the mysteries are revealed to us, sometimes we don't want to know. We kind of turn our back on it. And with the lion in this card facing away from the mysteries card, I kind of feel like there is a sense of feeling like ignorance might be ignorance is a little bit of bliss, right? Or you're purposely trying to avoid the things that are coming to you because you don't want to be right, or you don't want to be wrong. And the truth might be a little bit too much for you to handle. And so those are the things that you should consider this month. If you are in the space where you're feeling like you are being attacked by someone, or you are feeling like there is a little bit of a threat in your space. So if you feel that way, like I said, if you want to know the answers, you are able to tap into the mysteries and ask spirit the questions that you want the answer to, and ask for the answers to be revealed to you. And so what came out for the projection cards is the card for rage and also the card for contentment. And so the projection cards in this particular deck, it speaks to the underlying issues that are resulting in your inability to see the cards that came out in the core, which are the first two cards that came out. So these two set of cards are actually related in the way that they speak to each other in the reading. Like I said, the projection card is basically what is actually being projected outwards and what's blocking you from seeing what the core issue actually is. And so it's interesting that these two particular cards came out with, because rage and contentment, I don't know, they feel like two completely different things, but in actuality they're kind of not, right? And so with the contentment card, there's something about the ability to be truly happy and to be completely content, and that is something that is not really easy, is not really an easy thing. I feel like a lot of people have habits of explaining away behaviors or actions of other people or of ourselves, and just accepting what is given to us, right? We don't want to like rock the boat. And so we kind of walk around in this state where we pretend to be happy and we put a good face forward, or we smile and pretend that everything is okay, when really inside we're upset, right? And we're holding onto or covering up negative emotions. By pretending to be content, you not only betray yourself, but you also set into motion the negative effects that you experience if you had betrayed another person. Lying to yourself only increases the number of things for you to lie to yourself about, and ensures that anger, remorse, and shame are always going to be present. So if you get this contentment card, it's like you're choosing to smile on the outside while you suffer silently on the inside. And you're being warned to take the necessary steps to change the situation, or risk missing out on rich opportunities and untold adventures. If you refuse to do that, then one day you will ultimately feel the anger, remorse, and or shame that betrayers feel. Because in essence, you are betraying yourself. And so if the underlying issue is rage, what is rage? Rage is ultimately the reaction to pain that is caused by the lack the lack of or insufficiently expressed love we feel we deserve to receive. So we get upset to the point of like outburst, or expanding our our anger and rage outwards towards other people. But anger and rage is really just a cover for hurt and for pain, right? Because we're not getting what we feel we deserve. And some of us kind of like, we, might have like an angry outburst because we feel that there's something that we deserve that we're not getting, and whatever that might be in terms of this particular situation. Or if you feel like someone is, like I said, is stabbing you in the back, is what came out with the court card. There is a rage to that because it ultimately feels, you don't feel like it's something that you deserve, right? And so we want to really take the time to admit to feeling the pain that we feel and to deal with it, rather than allowing that pain to make us more angry, which might ultimately lead to us doing things that are retaliatory, where we retaliate against people or people that don't even have anything to do with the situation, which ultimately will turn into us being more angry in the long run, right? It's difficult to admit our feelings of inadequacy in certain situations, but this is an opportunity to really reflect on the underlying issue of what's going on in your life. If you are feeling betrayed, or if you're feeling attacked, or if you feel like there's something about someone or something or some place that you don't really know, but you feel like you're missing information, you might be upset because there's something underneath that feels like this is something that you've had to endure in the past, and it's just making you angry to have to kind of endure it again, especially if you feel or felt a connection to the person that you feel betrayed by. And sometimes, the other person might not even know what they've done wrong, right? Or if it's something that has to do with employment, they might not be able to pay you more, or they might be unwilling to compensate you in a way that you think is okay. You don't want to put your emotional, your physical, your spiritual health at jeopardy by holding on to this anger, right? Because ultimately, the anger only actually backfires on you and hurts you even more than it does the other person. So the mission here is to really look at things and put them into perspective, right? If this rage is showing up as an indication that you could be hurt, and that you're kind of trying to hide your hurt by kind of expressing anger and rage as a way to cope, right? So you want to recognize that you are hurt, to stop and focus exclusively on the anger, to stop focusing exclusively on the anger, and to deal with the core issue so that you can move forward in your life in a healthy and productive way. And for some of you, there is a sense that, like I said, with the mysteries card and with the opposition card, you might have felt this coming down the pipeline, and you might have been in a position where you gave a person the benefit of the doubt, even though you felt that you shouldn't have done it, and then they turn around and did the same thing that you thought, you kind of talked yourself out of, and now you're mad at them because they turn out to be who you thought they were going to be, and you're upset. So you might want to be mad at yourself, because this means that you're not trusting your intuition, and that your intuition is definitely there to guide you. So in matters of dealing with other people, like I said, you may want to consult your spirits about certain situations to actually reveal to you what you need to know, so that you don't end up in cycles or repetitive cycles with people that you can potentially avoid. And so again, the two action cards that came out, the cool action card is represented here by measurement, which is basically just to really sit back and do this internal dialogue with yourself. Ask yourself, how much does this situation mean to you? How much does this person mean to you? How much does this place mean to you? Can you live without it? Can you do without it? Can you be without it? And then stop struggling and let it go if it's not that serious to you. If it is important to you and it's worth the struggle, then you can go ahead and pursue it. And that pursuit is being shown here by the hot action card, which is gradual progress, right? And so that card is basically saying to take things one step at a time, and you will get there. Speed would exchange lasting value and peace for temporary gratification and suffering. And so you want to hold your tongue, but you don't want to hold your tongue for too long. Speaking and being able to emote and explain the way that you feel about a particular situation is your best measure for action. But your speech should be measured. It should be thoughtful. You should really sit and think about the things that hurt you, and not be afraid to express the hurt that you feel, as opposed to the anger. And of course, again, this is only if this situation is important to you. If it's not, then just let it go. Okay. The core elements of this reading with this deck is to receive, to reflect, to realize, accept, and then to put into action the things that we realize as a part of this reflective process. And so that is something that we want to do, especially for the end of the year. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. Please like the video, leave a comment, let me know how this is working out in your life. Share the video with a friend that you feel might benefit from it. But definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. I'll be back soon, and take care, Capricorn.